The patriarchy can't keep me down anymore. It's been 2 weeks since I last spoke to you, my fellow Americans, and you 3 fans in Slovakia. Ahoy. But I'm back just in time to address the stupid, compounded by more stupid, at the behest of the squad. Now, it takes very little for the freshman ladies of the Socialist Democrats to get fired up about something. Say global warming, and they convulse in hysteria. Say illegal, and they'll pose for fake photos at the border. We've heard this humdrum many a time before. This week, though, has reached a new level of stupidity, and it just keeps getting worse. I'm Katie Petrick, and this is Healthy Republic. This week, the squad and then corresponding news cycle was set off by a tweet from President Trump. He tweeted, "So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world." Then he wrote some more, blah, 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 blah. Then he continued, "Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came?" Okay, first thought is, could that have been stated a lot more poetically? Absolutely. Is it xenophobic? Yeah, you could make that argument. But was it racist, as they claim, simply because those he's addressing are all women of color?
It's idiotic, what they're saying. So it doesn't matter whether they're white, man, woman, brown, yellow, anything.
Bingo. Trump's tweet was referring to House members Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley, or as they call themselves, the Squad. Now, in fairness to the Squad, Omar is the only one actually not born in America, so Trump shouldn't have said they could go back to the country from which they came. Omar came from Somalia and was indeed exposed to atrocities in life in a refugee camp. Her government was a complete and total catastrophe. So in fairness to Trump, wasn't he just pointing out that those other places are simply not as good as America, and that's why we're all here and not there? Now, these women always call themselves Squad as a singular, like a bunch of prepubescent girls. You know, girl power. So because of one tweet, they had to collectively be outraged. Instead of leaving the media to attack Trump and possibly get people to turn against Trump, they could simply not stop themselves and said, "Hold my soy latte." All attention was then turned to a Monday afternoon press conference, hosted by them, to address the tweet. But first, that morning, AOC needed to zen out with her plants. And by the time the press conference rolled around, it turned into this. No, seriously, you may want to put on earmuffs to protect yourself from what they are about to say. Consider yourself warned.
And given the size of this squad and this great nation, we will not be silenced.
And we won't get caught slipping, because all of this is a distraction.
This is a president who has overseen the most corrupt administration in our history.
In the face of the most recent xenophobic, bigoted remarks from the occupant of our White House.
He would love nothing more than to divide our country based on race, religion, gender, orientation, or immigration status.
Many members of Congress have called for his impeachment because of his utter disregard and disrespect of the United States Constitution.
Weak minds and leaders challenge loyalty to our country in order to avoid challenging and debating the policy.
The one accurate statement in that insanity was that all of this is a distraction. All of it. Think about it. Have you heard about child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein once this week? No? That's because this is all a distraction. And our politicians, president included, are busy blathing on about tweets instead of border security, education, the economy, pretty much any other issue you can think of that Americans actually care about and are impacted by. This clip tells us a few things, though. We must remember that these women are terrorist sympathizers. They will not denounce Antifa or Al-Qaeda. They simply can't and won't do it. They could have easily condemned the Antifa attack that happened over the weekend when a 69-year-old man had incendiary devices and set a car on fire. But oh no, a tweet by Trump is more incendiary to them.
Will you condemn Antifa for the attack in Washington?
We'll be making statements.
It's easy to condemn a terrorist attack. Do you condemn Antifa for their violent actions against American law enforcement?
It's beyond time to ask Muslims to condemn terrorists.
Why should we expect our representatives to condemn terrorism? I mean, really. Omar knows better. Don't you know she took a terrorism class in college and it was hilarious?
I remember when I was in college, I took a terrorism class, and
is that a such thing?
Yeah, there was.
So there is a lab for that?
There was a class that you.
Do you go to a lab?
No,
go out a field trip.
We learned the ideology of.
I'm glad you do that.
And so it was the thing that was interesting in the class was every time the professor said Al-Qaeda, he sort of like his shoulders went up, and
yeah, he's in command here.
Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah.
He's an expert.
You saw a fourth new member of the squad in these clips. Representative Ayanna Pressley didn't make the original Spice Girls cut. Last week, she was just spiceless. Or for the crowd who likes better quality entertainment, think of her as the Zeppo of the Marx Brothers. Either way, Pressley has risen to squad status with her attitude and racist bona fides presented like a sorority girl at the end of Rush Week. AOC confirmed her status via the Instagram with an official welcome, and then Pressley's comments at Netroots Nation solidified her status in the Yaya Crazy Club.
Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
What is the squad's Greek house anyway? Delta Sigma racist? I mean, I know it certainly won't be anything alpha related because you're a sexist bigot if you think so. Nancy Pelosi, the leader of the non-Greek house, that being the House of Representatives, should be getting these freshman recruits in line. But oh no, she's busy trying to appease them, including Omar's anti-Semitic BDS resolution that was presented this week in the House. Pelosi just pretends to be oblivious.
So, you guys, what is the 411?
Mom, could you go fix your hair?
Okay. You girls keep me young. Ugh, I love you so much.
Pelosi needs to come out from behind the dentures and stand up to the squad of mean girls who act like whiny tweens and are pretty clearly controlling the House's agenda.
Now, what the young ladies in this grade need is an attitude makeover. And you're gonna get it right now. I don't care how long it takes. I will keep you here all night.
We can't keep them past 4.
I will keep you here until 4.
At least if Pelosi took that approach, it gives the rest of her party members an opportunity to come out from behind the curtain. If she is the leader of that party, then what happens under her command is her responsibility. Instead, it's all about these activists and their problems.
It's not a self-esteem problem. I think they're all pretty pleased with themselves.
But they aren't pleasing to Americans. According to newly released polling data, America doesn't need any of the squad to be any voice for anyone. An internal Democratic poll of swing voters has AOC with a favorable view of only 22%, and Omar is a pathetic 9% favorability. These poll numbers are actually from May, long before the infighting between Pelosi and AOC, and all of this week's stupidity, so one can only imagine how the swing voters view the socialists now. We do know that CNN's Jake Tapper committed an act of journalism on Wednesday when he got a quote from an anonymous Democrat who had to concede this week's pissing match. The Democrat said, "The president won this one. What the president has done is politically brilliant." And then Wednesday night happened, and a crowd of people at Trump's North Carolina rally yelled, "Send her back," in reference to Omar.
Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
It was vile and disgusting, and Trump rightly and smartly disavowed the action. But he should have done so immediately to show the crowd he wouldn't sink to that immorality because his opponents did it first. But it took him until the following day, furthering our nation's descent into decay. Now, everyone is entitled to their opinions, and everyone can disagree with said opinions. That's the beauty of having a First Amendment. With that right of free speech, it means we get a whole lot of stupidity and some disgusting and vile comments. It's kind of part of the deal. That's why we have had an entire week of this nonsense that also included the House condemning Trump and then a failed impeachment motion on Trump that had absolutely no legal reasoning behind it. I think Senator John Kennedy summed all of this up nicely and hit on what all of us little people are thinking about everything that is happening in American politics today.
They're entitled to their opinion. They're Americans. But I'm entitled to my opinion. And I just think they're left-wing cranks, and they're the reason that their direction's on a shampoo bottle.
And that, my friends and fellow Americans, is the current status of the United States. It's an entire shampoo bottle of stupidity, and we all need directions. If you are thinking right now that Trump was right or the squad was right, then you are wrong. This is not helping the country. This is basic tribalism 101. Everyone is wrong, and we all need to be better. Think for yourselves and don't just follow the dumb wherever it goes. And then let me know your 2 cents, because you know what? This is still America. Speak up and let me know in the comments. And don't forget to share the bleep out of this video and podcast. Until next time, stay healthy, America.